someone out there who has a company and they're like, I got to find somebody to write stuff for me. How do I find someone good? Where do I look? What do I look for? All that kind of stuff.
So I've said it many times, but I'm going to say it again. I think referrals from people that you know, trust, and respect are always the best place to start because it's almost like pre-validation. If they're vouching for somebody else's work, they're essentially putting their stamp of approval on it. So they're not going to send you a bad recommendation.
Hmm.
So start by asking around with people who maybe have an established presence doing what you're trying to do. Ask them if they have recommendations for people that they've worked with or still work with. And I would say also like go and see who the standout voices are on places like LinkedIn and Twitter and who's talking about the things that you're trying to accomplish. Who are the big voices there? And again, maybe they're booked up, but they could probably give you some good recommendations of people who are within your budget range if it's a little bit lower than what their high rates might be. People are, I think, always have a running list of people that they're happy to recommend. It's
Hmm.
just a matter of tapping into that and getting them. So you have to make the ask. They're not going to just land in your lap. And sometimes that can happen over email. Maybe you pick up the phone, maybe you send a couple LinkedIn messages. But pretty quickly, I think you can get a pretty solid short list of
Hmm.
recommendations and then start screening from there.
And what do you think? Obviously, every case is a little bit different, but let's say I get 3 recommendations from people I trust. They all have experience in this field, and I'm trying to figure out, okay, which one is the one? What are some of the sort of things that I should be looking for? What are the signs that, and I'm not even just going to say like signs that they're good, because let's assume all 3 are good. So some of this is about fit and about sort of picking who's the right person. What tips would you have for someone of what they should look for? Maybe questions they should ask them. Should they have them write sample stuff, or like how would you go about figuring who's the right one for me?
So I would say, first of all, look at the portfolio, make sure that the writing quality, tone, voice, all of that there is a match for what you're trying to accomplish. Get on the phone with them. I think having a face to face or even just voice to voice conversation is a good way to make sure that your communication styles match and that you're kind of on the same page as far as rapport goes. It's just kind of one of those baseline things. You want to make sure that you mesh well with that person that you're going to hire because again, you want to hire them long term. You don't want it to be a one-off thing because then you have to start all over. And then I think it's good to have some sort of a screening process. So it could be a paid test assignment where you are studying how well they follow directions and the brief that you provided. Maybe it's a how would you approach this particular topic so you can kind of see how their brain
Mhm.
works when it comes to data synthesis, storytelling, narrative building, things like that. The thing that's tricky with looking at a portfolio is that can be a good body of work and you're like, "Oh yeah, this seems perfect." But then you get into the assignment and you're like, oh no, this is not a good fit at all. I don't know
Right.
what these samples were that I was looking at, but this is not on the mark. So I think the trial assignment is a good idea. You just have to be mindful of that's a bit of an investment and you have to be
Mhm.
willing to kind of eat that if it doesn't work out.